Let me hear your questions then.
No, I got some comments.
Okay.
First of all, this was a public meeting with nothing to hide. We've got a public over there that's about 26 people. I've talked to probably 30 employees and other employees that have not employed here anymore. And I know there's some over there, but why is this public, why is it cut down to so many less people here? That's a good question I got. That's the first question. We gotta get this rolling. We gotta get
This is our ability to seat people from a capacity standpoint. We were asked to have it here at the hospital. At first, we were gonna be downstairs in the classrooms. And we decided to move it.
How many people in this room sit? I heard
Well,
capacity was 180 people.
it's not right now. It's not when you're
Because of
socially
what?
distanced, to be socially distanced.
Socially distanced?
Yes. We're inside a hospital. Yes. We follow the rules of the CDC.
And that's fine, Lisa.
And so we,
When you and Scott and I had this conversation about what this was supposed to be, I said, hit the high points, let's keep it to a certain time. We're not halfway through with the agenda, and we've been here an hour, 45.
Speak up, Mayor, we can't hear you.
okay, well, we spent a lot of time on people with my section and answering a lot of questions. These other sections will go very, very fast. They will go very, very quick for you. I think there's some great information to hear about our community. And let me introduce one more person to
Ms.
you.
Lisa, that's not gonna work. I mean, I can get up and leave, but I really would like to talk about a few of these things, and I'd rather talk about it in a public meeting than talking to the press about it. I have some tough questions that I want answered, and I think a lot of people here do too.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let me hear your questions then.
Well, let's talk about, I guess we'll just get right down to it. So the surgical center, I'd like to know from the board members, when were you told by the administration about a mold issue at the hospital, at the surgical center?
Okay. I have a slide on.
No. I'm asking the board members, this is a work session between the board members. I'd like to know, some of the board members, when did you know about a mold issue at the surgical center? That's
Probably September.
okay, September. I've got a report here from a company from 2020 about mold issues from the surgical center. It's from a company out of Henderson, Tennessee. Very extensive report about mold at the surgical center. And that's 2020. I mean, it's pretty major that there's mold at the surgical center. The board didn't know about it.
Right, I have a report in 2020 that was given to me by our facilities director, where we did our mold testing for mold particulates, and we were told that it was no different than what you would expect. It's no different, and so we did not have a mold issue, is what I was told in the report that I have. So I'm not told that there is mold at the surgery center. To this date, what I am told is that we have been wiping a substance residue off around areas that are metal, where the air is coming through and creating condensation. So to this date, we are working through with architects, with the owners of the building, to correct that process. The owners have stated that they will put in an entire new HVAC system. And when we've been working with the owners on the system, they have, over the past couple of years, added parts. They've added insulation, several different things. And I think this was in all the report that we sent out to you all, and the dates on that, and that's on this listing here as well. And as that didn't solve the problem, we put in 3 commercial grade dehumidifiers while this was going on. We've taken the surgery center down twice for enhancements to the air conditioning that the owners thought would solve that problem. We don't own the building. We report the issues. The owners work to solve that problem. And that's what was said to us, is we think this solves this problem. This is what the specialists tell us to do. So we monitor that, and when that doesn't work, we report that back.
So you didn't know that there was mold until this last report, like in September? That's what
It
said,
doesn't
September?
say that there's mold.
Well, I got an email from you sent to, I guess it's Rob, whoever Rob is.
Our facilities
Yeah,
director.
please contact Dr. Mobley with an update on the installation project. We still have been experiencing mold. What is our next steps?
I asked the question, are we experiencing mold?
We are still experiencing mold. What is our next steps? In the same email thread, I've got a person on here that will not be named. We are still we are seeing mold here at the surgical center. I have been sick since January 1st of this year.
Right.
With
So,
chronic
again-
sinus issues, which I've never had before. This person states when they leave over the weekend, they're fine. This is in January of this year, and
So that's in January of this year. So again, we've been working to solve that problem with the owners. They have brought people in to look at the air conditioning unit. We have not been told that we have mold. That word mold has been used. I've been asking, do we have mold? Because people are telling me they're wiping a substance off around areas such as light switches, door facings, things of that nature. And I have not been told that we have mold. I have asked if in this architectural report that they're working on now, because they've been studying the HVAC unit so that we can get the humidity factor correct. My understanding is they're going to have to pull that whole system, including the ducting, the ductwork all throughout the surgery center, pull all of that and put in an entirely new type of system to control moisture. They also put in their report, if they find mold, they will do a mold remediation.
but the problem is, you were in this email thread, there's a sick person that reported being sick January of this year. We continue to do surgeries in this building. The Mobleys, I guess, say that they want to renegotiate or go into another lease agreement with you. Dr. Neely, who I've spoken to extensively, said she asked you not to go into a new lease. This is from her words. Goes on vacation, you make a deal with the Mobleys or whoever it is, with the board, and work that deal.
No,
And
sir.
then, let me finish, and then come September, after, I guess there's a new person that's the maintenance director, does another report. After the lease has already been agreed on, then there's a problem with the mold at the surgical center. And then we shut it down. And I do believe I heard there was an emergency meeting about this. And that's what I'm thinking the board heard about this. The board should have heard about mold in this building a long time ago. And I guarantee those people over there that work in this building can say the same thing.
So let's go back through the timeline. Again, as things get reported, as we work through those, as things get reported to me, we turn those over to the owners. We work through and they give us a work plan. This should solve the problem. This should solve the problem. So we check and we see if it solves the problem. If it doesn't, then we ask, okay, let's go back to the owners and ask them to solve this problem. They've been putting different parts, different insulation, different things. The person who was sick, that got reported to Neely Ashby, the chief nursing officer. That reports to her, and she took care of, to my knowledge, that employee. I don't know. She took care, that was on that email, so she
That's a
took care
personnel
of that.
problem,
That's a
Lisa.
personnel.
If you're in an email thread with somebody,
Yes.
you know there's a mold problem.
And
You need, as an administrator, to talk to that person personally. And you need, as an administrator, to not just pass the buck on somebody else.
Yes.
I have, under me, I have 6 administrative advisors who oversee a multitude of departments, and I have a chief nursing officer who oversees
Is
surgeries.
this your executive committee?
Yes, this is my executive team. They also have management under those roles as well. And I was never made aware from Neely Ashby about not renewing the surgery center lease. We talk every Tuesday of every week.
What
In
about Ron
administration,
Smith? Can you repeat
wait
that?
just a second,
What
let me
about
say
Ron
this.
Smith?
Let me say this again. So every Tuesday, we meet in administration, and we talk about all the different things that we're working on and doing. At no time was I ever advised by anyone on my staff to not renew the lease. At no time. We have had a great relationship and a need for space and have used the surgery center. We renewed the lease with the understanding that the owners were going to continue to work and solve the problem with the air conditioning unit. We also know that there is a lease provision in the lease that gives us an out should something happen, should there be damage, should there be something, that we can vacate the properties. And when we vacate the properties, we no longer pay rent.
So are you telling us that, which the public is here, that you did not know there was a major problem at the surgical center when you negotiated a lease agreement with the Moblins?
I knew that there was a problem with the air conditioning unit when we continued the lease that we had. We executed the lease to continue it. It was an existing lease and it was up for its 3-year renewal option. All we did was extend the current lease that we had. There was no renegotiation of any lease. It was extending the current lease that we had. And we have a great relationship with those owners. And if they say that they're going to take care of something and make a change and correct it, they're going to. Why should I not believe
How long has the
them?
water issue been going on at the surgical center? How many years has that been going on?
What water issue? Come tell me about that.
Specifics?
Yes.
That building leaks like a stinking boat. And I've heard that from many, many people.
Okay,
And it's
no,
been a
no.
problem for years. Are you saying you didn't know that?
I did not know that. No, sir.
That's the other place here in this building.
Okay.
So Lisa, let me ask, Rob Smith, former facilities director, wanted to address this board, your board of trustees, before he left,
Did he? Okay, he does every year.
and you wouldn't allow him to.
That's not true. He gives a report to our board of trustees annually on
He
facilities.
wanted to address, he had turned in his resignation, but wanted to address your board of trustees about the mold issues going on. And you did not allow him to address them.
No, sir. That is not true. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yes.
Miss Lisa, I wanna ask you something that this is all boiling into. We, as commissioners, come to learn a little bit, I guess, about some money that you needed and stuff, but what I'm hearing is not. And I want to know where your trustees are in helping you with these questions. Now, you've heard from commissioners and other people, but where are your trustees? Why are they not speaking up for you?
I'll be glad to turn the podium over for any of them. I'll be glad to if you would like to hear from them.
I asked him a question about the mold, and I don't think anybody spoke up, really, about the mold issue.
3 months.
You've known for 3 months.
I told you, and he said September.
So you guys think about this.
You
You've
think
known
about it. You asked
Okay.
the question and we answered.
Okay, you've known about mold for 3 months.
No, you said, when did we first learn of it?
So now
No,
you've known
no.
about the mold for 3 months.
Well, wait a
It's been going
second.
on way
I
longer
would
than
say,
3 months.
again, I don't have a report that says that we have mold. I don't have a report that says that. We have a
Lisa,
report.
this report has got pictures of mold on it.
That report has pictures of things that people are wiping off, yes.
Black stuff that's moist, that's wiping off,
Okay,
is
so,
mold.
so why are people wiping that off and not telling us about it? So I learned of that this
I
summer.
bring attention that you did know about it.
No, I learned that this summer. Those were given to me this summer, yes.
The
Those
2020
pictures.
report.
So tell me this, we've
was
had
January,
we've
March.
had 3 joint commission accreditations at the surgery center. And they've always passed accreditation.
Explain this, what are you saying?
We have surveyors that are here every 3 years. They survey our building, they survey the surgery center, they survey the, home health, all of our different
Oh, I know
locations.
why. I know why.
Why?
Because you wipe it down before they get there.
Well, you know, I think there's some things you can wipe down, but then there are things that you would see. These are folks who come and they are facilities ex-directors themselves, and they are addressing the properties, and we have never been cited for
Did
anything.
they interview anybody and ask them if they're sick from respiratory?
They talk to employees and they talk to the facilities director. And we have standard required reports that we have to give our board of trustees every year. And a facilities report is one of them. And Rob Smith was never told what to say, what not to say. I never tell any of my management staff what to say, what not to say. I ask them to put their reports together, their reports. And we have many of them that go to our board.
All right, I have has anybody else got any more issues they want to ask me? Because I want to move on to the next issue. The financials, there's been rumor that you have turned over financials to St. Thomas. Dispel that rumor for us.
Turned over financials as in giving them a copy of a report or what?
I guess, that's just what the rumor
Is that what that means?
Yeah. Whatever it needs to be. Have you done anything with financials to St. Thomas?
We work with St. Thomas. They are our affiliated partner for cardiology. If there was something that they needed to show a financial information, I may have from a cardiology standpoint. We just signed our primary care physicians that we employ into an accountable care organization, which is a risk-shared Medicare program with them. I couldn't tell you if I didn't fill out those reports. There was a lot of information that had to be sent to them about our physician practices. So that may have been. Then third to that, our financial statements are public information, and you can go out on the state's website and pull those down. But I can't think.
What is an FMV? What does that stand for?
Fair market value.
Okay.
So am I doing a fair market value study with St. Thomas? I have asked them to look at one of the services that we have because I've been told by that service that they're going to that they want an increase in rates. So I've asked St. Thomas as well as Le Bonheur. I think those are the only two. I've asked them to give me a fair market value proposal on that same service.
You talk about the cath lab stuff? You talking about that?
No, that's a different service. The cath lab service, we sent out a proposal to 3 different companies. We sent to St. Thomas, we sent to West Tennessee Healthcare, and a company called Cardio Solutions, and received bids on all 3 of those for a study of building our cath lab for us.
So the surgical center, say the surgical center was working great, there was no mold issue, and that building benefits us.
Yes, it does.
As a hospital, because we can do surgeries in it.
Yes.
So why would you help the Mobleys with a financial report to St. Thomas for purchasing that building?
I didn't. Doctor, let me.
They might say otherwise.
Okay, well, you have to show me those. So Dr. Dickey Mobley asked me in one of our discussions.
Well, I can show you. I can just read it. I've got copies I can pass out.
Okay.
So this is Lisa. Lisa Castillo. And I'll just read the whole thing. It doesn't make much sense. I must have touched a key to send an email prior to finishing this message. Attached is an FMV report we compiled Surgery Center back in 2012 as a good picture or a picture of the center. And then it says Brad dash, will you send FAHAD 5-year history of the surgical center volume list by type. Thanks, Lisa. This is from Brad. I don't know if, I guess this may be you. Lisa is wanting a report showing the number of surgeries from the past 5 years at your surgical center. She also wants broke down the surgeries by type and surgeon. This is for St. Thomas, who we are asking to consider purchasing the center from the Mobleys.
No, I would say what I sent to Dr. Dickey Mobley, and I had a discussion that when he asked, would we want to buy the surgery center? I said, no, sir, we don't have the ability to buy the surgery center. Would you like for me to connect you with a purchaser like St. Thomas? So
It also does surgeries.
They do surgeries, yes, and they're a partner of ours. So that must have been where that came from, is that we were looking into, do you need someone to buy a surgery center? Later on, Dr. Blake Chandler called me and said, Lisa, why would you want St. Thomas to buy the surgery center? I said, well, if it is for sale.
So you didn't know a minute ago, but now you do,
I said,
remember.
well, no, hold on just a second, let me finish this story. So, when Dr. Blake Chandler called me and said, why do you want to sell it to St. Thomas? I said, it's not mine to sell. I don't own the surgery center. And if somebody is looking for someone to purchase it, I'm glad to help that process and place them with somebody that would be good.
Why would you do that with our resources, i.e. Brad, and other people that are listed in this? Why would we use our resources to help another company buy or broker a deal with the Mobleys for that building? I don't understand that. That just doesn't make good business sense.
Well, it does make good business sense if in fact that you are looking for someone to keep the surgery center open and keep it running here. Dr. Chandler told me that he was interested in buying the surgery center. I said, well, that's wonderful. Then you buy the surgery center.
Well, wait, the Mobleys want to keep the surgical center running also because we just went into a 6-year lease with them. What do you mean by that?
Again, I don't know. When a question's just asked of me, do you want to buy it? My answer was no.
Well, I assumed you guys.
Because I don't own the surgery center.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so that's what I had. I don't know if anybody else has got any questions about the surgical center. Okay. My last thing, which is the biggest thing, really, I mean, these don't sound like good practices to me, but I don't think you have the support of your staff at the hospital. You may have some. I will say this, in a statement you made this morning, you had a meeting with a medical executive committee. Everyone in the room asked me what they could do to help. They believe in me, they believe in what we're doing. They all said they support me. Everyone. That's what you said. And they may. I don't know who's in that room. There may be some that may rebut that tomorrow or whatever. But I've talked to, and I would assume or almost bet that I've talked to more employees, past and present, than most of the board has. Not knocking the board, but I think they're afraid to talk to the board. That say, man, the hospital, it's just not a really good environment to work. And it all boils down to leadership. And the name that comes up, Ms. Castile, is you. I hear it a lot. I have not been really involved with it. We have 2 commissioners that are on the board that kind of report to us from time to time about the hospital. But it's not good. The community is really worried about the hospital, and the name that comes up is the leadership. And it's not just the community, it's the past employees and current employees. I'm getting text right now that you don't want to hear what Blake Chandler really has to say. I'm sure that'll be a great conversation you can have later with him about what you said earlier. But these are problems. We need these people here at the hospital. They're leaving, some of them are leaving. Surgeon leaving is a major problem. So, and I know that the meeting we had with you this morning with the mayor, we talked about the county's support, and it's just not there. It's not there, and we're very concerned as commissioners and as a public about this hospital and the direction it's going.
As I said this
I went to
morning.
the pharmacy the other day, and I had one lady that I knew, she said, hey Greg, I need to talk to you because you're county commissioner. And that come up, there was other people, and everybody said, bad leadership, and they were going to do that. I talked to people tonight, employees, that said leadership is bad, and they're not. Tonight, you're an employee.
So when we survey employees, and it's all anonymous, they give leadership in this hospital very, very good scores.
It's been 2 years.
When I round with employees, I talk with them and they're excited about being here. We talk about exciting and wonderful things. They're not scared to talk to me.
Yeah, they are.
There's a bullying complaint on one mine if you want to hear that.
I don't get to be CEO of the hospital by being a bully. So that just isn't true.
You were told by
So-
your predecessor.
That's what we have heard over and over.
Mr. Travis.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm a part of the community. I'm a part of the county commission, elected official.
Mr.
I
Travis.
was appointed to the.
Speak
hospital
up.
board.
Can't hear you.
Uh,
I'm a part of the community. I support Lisa Castile as CEO of the Henry County Medical Center. All the questions that have been so rudely addressed to Ms. Castile are in these reports.
Are you kidding me?
The questions that has been asked in regards to the surgery center, I believe that were addressed by Ms. Castile, but you have contrary documentation. As a board member, I have not sit in on a meeting where it was discussed selling the Henry County Medical Center. So wherever that came from, it never came from the board or was not indicated by Ms. Castile that there was any intent on disposing of the Henry County Medical Center. Why has not more the board members spoke up at this meeting? Because we read the report and we were satisfied that any questions that would be asked was asked in the report. I personally support Lisa. I'm of the opinion from the board meetings that we have that the board, the hospital board, supports the work that's been done at the hospital and in the manner in which it is, which has been done. One of the mistakes a lot of people make is they get personally involved with something they have no knowledge of. And they believe everything that they're told without the facts. I would like to think that as an elected official, that I would have did additional research to make sure that I had the facts before I began championing someone else's personal interests.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. If I can throw a rock, break a window and hide my glass, and then you stand behind me with a rock in your hand, then I assume that it's you that's throwing rocks. We need to see who's really throwing the rocks here towards the leadership and the ability of Ms. Castile. The financials, the charts, the everything says that contrary to what some of you want to believe, the hospital is not going broke. We're not a risk of paying debts, but you want to believe that because someone has a personal vendetta against this lady here that has done nothing.
I don't have anything to do with it.
But show the kind of leadership that is needed. Any one of you faced with making the kinds of decisions that had to be made over this last year and a half during this pandemic, you should have been in her shoes to determine what would be best. And so I hope that we're listening to the facts. And we also, while we listen to the fact, is who stands to gain? Who really stands to gain with the surgical center? Right? Who really stands to gain? Who would give the kind of information that discredits the Moblins, saying that information was withheld from the board. Who's involved? Who is the doctor that refuses to work call? Who is the person that, having said that they love the hospital, that would do something like this?
With all due respect,
You also can make a chart look any way you want to.
That's right.
with all due respect, no one has talked about, no one brought up the sale of the surgical, or of the hospital. No one brought that up. That was a rumor that we didn't bring up tonight. And Miss Lisa, if you want to go into the charts, I'm sure there's people in here that want to listen to that and look at that, and that's great. I've got to get kids in bed.
That's fine.
I would
I'm just-
respectfully ask you to resign.
Yeah.
Let's go forward. So, we've got a couple more things that we want to talk about. I do want to bring Kim Bentley is our interim chief nursing officer. And I think it's very important for us to talk about our patients that are here, that what they think about us. So Kim, let me get you back to, somehow or other that's gotten out of sorts there, but if you can start
Okay,
there.
all right, I promise I'll be brief. First of all, thank you guys for being here. I can tell 1000% that there's a lot of passion and energy and commitment to this facility, and you guys have done absolutely fantastic things. I'm Kim Bentley. I'm proud and happy to be here as an interim chief nursing officer. And, you know, I know this is a really odd situation to be in, but I really want to say some positive things that I have observed, especially since this is the 6th day that I have been at Henry County Medical Center. So first of all, thank you guys for welcoming me. This is one of the warmest, nicest communities that I have ever met. And I know that there's a lot of background with what's going on today, but I want to share some highlights with you on what I've seen as a third party who really, I have absolutely no horse in the race. So my background, I've been in healthcare and I've been a nurse for 30 years. I've been a senior administrator for 15 years.